Good morning, everybody. A little bit better. I think you can do a little bit better. Good morning, everybody. Good morning! That's it. So, this is the proper reaction for a presenter. So, my name is Spanougakis. I'm an MCT. I've started delivering courses more or less 18 years ago. Yes, I was a baby MCT, yes. Now I'm 25 years old, so you can think that I started doing this job when I was really young. So, we're going to see today how you can deliver exciting presentations in 5 easy steps. And please memorize that number. It's just 5, because when you deliver a presentation, you have to create a catchy title and a catchy abstract. Okay, so do you think that it could be a good title, How to Deliver Exciting Presentations in 19 Steps? It should be very difficult for you to remember all these steps, to memorize everything. So, for now, please remember, it's a really good idea when you create your presentation title to use numbers, and these numbers have to be achievable, so the audience will come to your presentation, and it will be easy for your audience to follow the presentation, because it's just 5 steps. Everybody should remember these steps. Okay, so we will find out today how to deliver exciting presentations, of course, how you can make the audience participate, because remember, the audience tends to sleep after more or less 10 minutes. So you have somehow to trigger their emotions, to motivate them to participate. And we will see how you can be a better speaker. And my idea behind that presentation was to spot out all the mistakes that we all do when we create presentations. Okay, starting by how you build your PowerPoint slides, how you react with the audience, and a lot of other things that we'll discuss together. So, and as an extra bonus for today, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you how you can make the audience clap every time when you close your presentation. And believe me, it works every time. Okay, what do you prefer when you end with your presentation? Just to see the audience stand up and leave, or do you prefer to see something like this? What do you prefer? Of course, that one. Okay, so this will be our secret for today, a small trick that you can do. Do you recognize that guy up there? It's Bill Clinton. And what about Bill Clinton? Of course, we know that no one is born as a presenter, so you have to practice. And you have to learn from other guys, from the best presenters in the world. And believe me, I know many of you, we've participated in many TechEds and Ignites and all these conferences. It's a good idea to try to see how they present and try to copy their techniques to your presentation. So, it's something that you can build it, something that you can practice it. And of course, I'm talking here about Bill Clinton because he was a real good presenter. Okay, so another advice that I can give you, you can find on YouTube some Bill Clinton's presentations and see the videos and try to spot out why Bill Clinton is so a good presenter. Okay, so first of all, we have to realize that as a presenter, we have some very specific roles. You have to be a learning manager. You have to be a technical resource for the audience, especially if you deliver technical presentations. You have to be a company representative. Tell me, what's the company that we represent when we deliver on Microsoft conferences? It's Microsoft. Okay, so you actually represent Microsoft or even your company when you deliver a presentation. So you have to make sure that you don't, how to tell this? You just want to make sure that you don't tell bad things about the companies that you represent. Okay, you have to be positive anyway. You have to be a coach, and you also have to be a host. What is a host? Not a Hyper-V host, just a host. So you have a party at home, and what happens when your guests arrive? You have to welcome the guests. You have to make them feel comfortable. Okay, so, and of course you want them to learn, that's why you have to be a learning manager. You are the expert, that's why you have to give them the technical resources that they need. You need to take out when they leave the room. And as I said, you have a company representative. If you take a look at all these bullets, you have to make them have a good experience while they follow your presentations. Okay, so these are the 5 steps that I told you before. Can you memorize these steps? Preparation, preparation, preparation. This is the first one. And believe me, a lot of years ago, I was doing presentations just by copying other people's slides. And what I learned from this is you cannot make a good presentation if you just copy the slides. You have to create your own slides. If you create your own slides, you know what exactly you need to say when you present them. Okay, if you just copy slides, you lose your rhythm. You just tend to read all the text that's in the slide, and this is a bad thing. Why you should never read the text? Can you tell me? Do you have an idea? You should never read the text that's in the slide. Why?
I can read faster than you can.
Probably yes. Okay. And on the other hand, you just want them to just take a quick look at the slide and then hear at you talking while you explain all these topics. So the first step is to prepare. Then you have to do a proactive opening. We'll explain all these topics in a moment. Interactive delivery, tactics and concepts that you have to create when you deliver the presentation. Facilitate the participation of the audience, make them participate, ask them questions. We will talk about this in a moment. And then this is the motivational closing that I was telling you, how to make them clap every time that you finish your presentation. So let's talk about preparation. How do you create your presentation title? You need to create a short, relevant title. And as I told you before, use numerical values and no more than 7. That's why I've created that presentation. The title was How to Deliver Exciting Presentation in 5 Easy Steps. Okay, and as I told you, there could be 19 or 25 steps, but nobody should come to your presentation just to see you talking about 25 steps. Who can memorize 25 steps? Nobody, probably. Okay, and then you have to specify the benefits. If they come to your session, what they will get from your session. And this is very important because if you remember, do you remember the TechEd booklet that every attendee gets with all the titles and probably the abstracts? Everything is published on their website. So the attendees will try to select your session and they will compare it with all the other sessions that we have in that conference. So you have to specify the benefits and include the steps, measurable steps, what they're going to achieve when they come to your session. And let's take a look at this. Do you think that this is a good abstract? I've copied that from an Ignite session. Well, it could be a good one. Take a look at this. Description, explore the ins and outs of managing Microsoft Surface with Windows 10. This is one thing that they will get. This session provides guidance to help you deploy Windows on Surface devices. Number 2, keep those devices up to date. Number 3, and easily manage and support devices in your organization. 4 things. These are the things that they should learn when they come to your session. Topics to include Microsoft Surface, firmware and drivers, deployment accelerator, diagnostic toolkit, and some additional things that you can just use in your abstract to make it a little bit more, let's say, catchy for the audience. Okay, this is not perfect anyway, but it's considered to be a good one. So, the next thing is to consider how the audience learns. We are not tape recorders, we are not video recorders, we are humans. So you should learn, we know that we learn by processing information. Okay, and what is the meaning of this? We will play a game. I will show you some words, and you should try to memorize as many as you can. Are you ready? And I'm going to leave this slide for just 5 seconds. Try to memorize. Oh, sorry. This is the, okay. 5 seconds, that's it. How many words, how much can you remember?
1 or 2.
Maybe 2? 70%? Well, you are a computer, you're not a human probably. 5 to 6, so you are a computer also.
5.
But you are an IBM computer, you are one of the old ones probably. How many? 5. Okay. So, well, yes, but you will need to deliver a presentation not only to MCTs, not only to computers, but to humans. So I'm going to show you a different set of words and tell me how much can you remember. Sorry. And that's it. What do you think now? It's easier than before?
They are all from the same topic.
Because they are all relevant. So let's go back a little bit. Wind, piano, design, whole, nothing to do. Each word is entirely different meaning from all the other words. But this is really better because they are all related together. Okay. So now that we've played that game, let's take a look at this. You have to identify the main points of your presentation. And usually you have to tell a story. Okay, just stick to what's important. I'm going to show you this and this and this. 5 easy steps to deliver an exciting presentation. Okay. Then, when you create your PowerPoint slides, you should make sure that you visually highlight keywords, because these keywords were going to be memorized by the students. Okay. And can you help them to memorize them? How? Number 3. Repeat again and again. Probably the same keywords, the same meanings. And by the way, just use phrases. Avoid bullets and single words, because nobody can memorize a single word. It's not so easy. Try to use phrases, small phrases. Okay. And you should present all the content that you want to present as a story. So start with maybe a case study, a customer story. To that customer, it happened this when we tried to install Exchange or Office 365 or whatever you like, and try to reinforce learning through the story that you tell to the audience. Okay, so what's the need? You are going to present something related to a need of the audience. So you are here today. Why? Because you need to know how you can be a better presenter. That's your pain. This is what you want to learn. Okay. And you should give the solution to that one through the slides. And then the final step is a call to action. If you want to be a better presenter, you should do this and this and this. And usually this is the last part of your presentation, the call to action. And by the way, as I told you before, when you create your slides, make sure that you use phrases, not single words, and a maximum of 9 bullets. Not more than this. Because imagine that your audience cannot memorize more than 10. And maybe 10 is too much. Okay. And when you create your slides, try to use 18 points as a minimum, because we all know that if you have an attendee that is here, it will be very difficult to be able to read the text if it's too small. Can you read the text now?
Yeah.
Actually, this is bigger than 18 points. I think it's 22, 24, something like this. Okay. And another thing that we see as a mistake many times, how many slides do you create? I've seen presentations that have to be delivered in an hour with 60 slides. And what happens then? You see the presenter just going on and on quickly, without really presenting some of the slides because there is no time. So how do you calculate your time? Calculate to present every slide at the maximum of 3 minutes. So practically, if you have an hour, presentation of 1 hour, you should create more or less 25 slides. And if you have demos, you should make this number a little bit less than 25 slides because you need time for the demos. Okay, so make sure that you calculate your time carefully. And as I told you, I will tell you a story about this. This is how we tell the story to the audience. Last year, actually last summer, I was invited to present something related to disaster recovery using Azure in a conference. And when I asked how much time do I have to do the presentation, they told me 10 minutes. That's it. Okay, I've created just 3 slides. And I was looking at some other guys with something like 25 slides in 10 minutes. And they said to me, you are looking really relaxed. Do you want to take a look at your slides just to make them a little bit better? We have 25 slides, and we have to go through again and again. I have just 3 slides, because you have only 10 minutes. Take a look at this, 3 minutes per slide. It's 9 minutes plus 1 or 2 minutes for questions and answers and all these things. Okay, so that's the wrong slide. You should never do this. This is official Microsoft courseware. Okay, when we deliver courses, it's not actually presentation, it's a course delivery. It's a little bit different, but you should never make this a presentation. Take a look at this. Sign into the Azure portal. Go to the navigation menu and do this and this. Can you memorize this? When you see that slide, probably not. Okay, how many bullets? 10. And not simple phrases. Instructions how you do a task in the Azure portal. You cannot remember this. Okay, it's useless. Okay. Researchers have shown us that if you have 9 bullets per slide and you have 20 slides to deliver a presentation that will be in about an hour, your audience has to remember, more or less, will see during your presentation 180 points. And take a look at this. After 24 hours, they will forget the 50% of the content that you've delivered. And after 48 hours, they will forget the 75% of the content that you've delivered. Okay, that's why you need to make sure that you focus to the main key points and you give them just the information that they want. Okay, so let's talk about some learning styles. What is the visual style, the visual learning style? When you present some slides, this is the visual thing. Okay, there's a picture that you can see, there is a slide with some bullets, text, whatever. This is the visual thing. What is the auditory? You hear the presenter speaking. Okay. The most important learning style that you should use is the kinesthetic. Anybody knows what is the kinesthetic learning style? Hmm? Yes. Anybody else? Emotion. So you have somehow to trigger their emotions. And how you can do this? Tell stories, or do something like this. This was part of a presentation that I did some years ago related to bring your own device. And that's it, bring your own device. So instead of giving them just bullets and text, you use pictures, pictures that will trigger their emotions. What do you think? Is this a good example of a bring your own device technology? So maybe, and you can tell to the audience that this is your manager, and your manager wants to get access to the information that is stored on the company's file servers from everywhere, anytime, even when he's does scuba diving. Okay, so this is the kinesthetic learning. Try to use pictures, not just text and bullets. Okay, so the next thing is the proactive opening. As we said, you are the host. So you have to greet your audience. You have to make them feel comfortable. And of course, you have to practice beforehand. Do you practice when you have presentations, when you have to deliver presentations? Some people say you have to use the mirror, stay in front of the mirror and do the whole thing and try to prepare for your presentation. Another thing, arrive 45 minutes prior to your presentation. In some venues, this is not really possible because probably there's another speaker and you have to make sure that this speaker leaves, moves his laptop. But make sure that you arrive early and you test the equipment. Projectors, your laptop, internet connection if you need it. Okay, just make sure that everything works as expected. I've been to conferences when I didn't have the chance, the option to be there early because there was another presenter, and we've discovered that my laptop couldn't connect to the video projector. And all of a sudden, all the stuff, they were trying to fix the things, adapters, cables, you know what I mean. So just make sure that you arrive early. And then you have to welcome the audience. Usually what I do when we have a lot of people in the room, I go to every person in the front row and I ask them where they come from, if they like the sessions that they've already attended during the conference, names, countries, whatever. And I don't know if any one of you has attended a presentation of Mark Rusinovich. Anybody? You can see him doing the exact same thing. And it's Mark Rusinovich, it's a god. But he still goes to the front row and talks with the people. Okay, and believe me, when you talk with the people, you don't only prove that you're a good host, you just make yourself feel comfortable with the audience because everybody is nervous during a presentation. You cannot avoid that. Okay, so you greet people, you start conversation with some attendees. Do you like to play some background music when the attendees come to the room? Sometimes I do it when I have the proper equipment. Okay, it depends on the venue anyway, but it's a good idea to play some relaxing music while the attendees arrive. The next thing, when you start the presentation, you have to tell them who you are. And after this, you have to set the goals. You are here, and you are going to learn this, this, and this. Okay. And by the way, when you establish your expertise, usually you have a slide with a picture of you, and you have to tell them who you are. And something that I use is that one. Okay, so I'm a Microsoft certified trainer since the year 2000. I'm this and this and this. Have that experience, and make sure that you give them some details on how they can contact you if they like. And during my presentation, I've seen a lot of people to use their mobile phone cameras to just take a picture of my details, because somehow they would like to use these details later. Send me an email or just follow me on Twitter or whatever. Okay, so how much content do you use on that slide depends on how you feel. Okay, I've seen people that have something like 5, 6 paragraphs of content. I'm this and I've done this and this and this. Okay, but you don't want to show off. You just want to make them know who you are. And you just want them to make them feel comfortable and prove them that you are an expert on what you're doing. Okay, so the next thing, interactive delivery. Have you noticed that I'm moving? Okay, I'm sure you've seen presenters that during the whole presentation, they just stay here behind the pod, okay, because they want to feel safe. Now I'm behind the pod, I'm protected from my audience. So you should never do this. Try to move, and so you have to ask them questions. We will talk about this in a moment, but just try to move because you don't want them to be sleepy. You want them to follow you. That's why I'm moving here, so everybody should look at me as soon as I move around. And another thing, use Pics and Graphs, pictures, graphics, not just text, okay, that's obvious. Another thing that you can do is to use analogies. What is an analogy? Let's say you want to explain them how Hyper-V replica works. How can you do this? Sometimes you can ask the audience to help you. So, Sasha and Costa, come with me up here, please. This is something I did in a conference in Belgrade, and everybody was laughing because one of the guys was really big, and I said, okay, you are a really big Hyper-V host. You should be able to host a lot of VMs anyway. So I was trying to explain how replication works, Hyper-V replica works. So this is my first Hyper-V host, and this is my second Hyper-V host. And I'm the VM, I am the virtual machine. So how replica works? Every now and then, that VM is replicated the second Hyper-V host. Okay, so you make fun of it. You make the audience participate. So thank you, you can sit now. Okay, this is the analogy. Another thing that you can do, you can, yes, and everybody claps, the audience claps these Hyper-V hosts. Okay, so then you have to share your experience. Try to talk about real scenario, something that happened during an implementation, a project implementation, and I don't know, Hyper-V installation, SharePoint installation, whatever. Okay, talk about real problems. I remember when we were doing this project, that customer happened, we had a big problem, and we did this to solve it. So be careful, when you do it to your customer, you should know this and this and this, okay? And best practices, of course, as you can imagine, okay? It's normal to be nervous and minimize speech hiccups. What is a hiccup? Listen, now I will tell you something. Just give me a moment to think and all these things. And this is because we are nervous, okay? How can you avoid this? First of all, why do we have these hiccups when we present? Anybody? Well, first of all, it's because you're nervous, and there's another thing. Well, you need to think when you present. You need to think what we're going to say next. So instead of doing this, just stop and don't say anything. Okay. If you need to think, just stop. Oh, you can drink some water. By the way, I would like to get some water. So this will give you time to think while you present. Or maybe you can ask a question to the audience and get some more time, some extra time, while they reply to your question. Okay. Cheers, guys. So, another thing that you should remember, the audience tends to sleep. And researchers have shown us that every 8 to 10 minutes, you should do something to trigger their attention. Okay. And of course, yes, we can do another replication, but since you have to do another example, you can use an analogy like this to trigger their emotions and their interaction. You maximize stage movement, and I'm going to show you something as how you can actually facilitate this engagement of the audience, because you want them to participate. You just want them to be there standing and looking at you. And how can you do it? Questions. Ask them. Ask them questions. And you really don't expect to get the correct answer every time, but we will talk about this in a moment. Do some learning activities. Okay. And demos, of course. Okay, I will not talk about demos because I think everybody in this room knows what a demo is. We've done them 1,000 times. But let's talk about the two other things in this slide, questions and learning activities. There are many ways to ask questions to the audience. So, what is good, do you think, is an open-ended question? Open-ended. Well, an open-ended question should be something like, where are you from? What's your expertise? Are you an MCT? How many years you are an MCT? And things like that. Okay. Open-ended questions are not really related to the presentation that you deliver, but you can still use the close-ended questions. What is a closed-ended question? I'm asking a question, and I'm looking for a very specific answer. Okay, so I could ask you, let me think about, let's say, something technical. What's the tool that you need to use when you want to synchronize on-premises Active Directory accounts to Office 365? Okay. Some people should already know this, and some others should not know that. Okay, so this is a close-ended question. It's a specific question that needs a specific answer. Okay, another thing that you can do is the rhetorical question, something that you don't really expect an answer. You just ask, and after some seconds, you give the answer to the audience. A group question, what is really a group question? I can divide you in groups, I can ask something, and wait for you to answer. Okay, you don't spot this person to give you the answer. Or this could be a targeted one. Costa, please, can you tell me, do you know how you can replicate VMs from Hyper-V, from the first Hyper-V host to the second one? Things that, of course, you know that that specific person should be able to respond, because you should remember you want them to respond, and you want them to respond correctly. Okay, so how can you know, and that's another trick, how can you know that an attendee can answer to your question and probably can answer to that question correctly? So, what do? You just do the question.
It was a rhetorical question.
No, the rhetorical question is something that it's something like this. What should you need to do if you want to synchronize VMs? I stop for a few moments, and then I give the answer myself to the audience. Okay, I don't really expect someone to answer to that question. So take a look at this. For targeted questions, you do the question, and you want anybody from the audience to reply to you back with the correct one. How can you spot which one in the audience knows the question and wants to reply back to you? If a person looks directly to you, means that wants to answer that question. If there are some persons in the room that do something like this, it's like saying, don't ask me, please. Don't make me answer. I don't know the answer. I don't want to respond back to you. Okay, so I've seen that many times in presentations. You ask for a question, and then you just take a look of who is looking at you directly in the eyes. It means that person probably wants to reply back to you. Okay, and probably has the correct answer. If it doesn't, okay, you should say something like, okay, that's a good answer, but I'm looking for something more relevant to what I asked for. So then you let another person reply back. Okay, so just remember this. Ask something and take a look at your audience. Some of them will look directly into you, and they probably want to reply to that question. Okay, so I forgot my clicker here. Learning activities. Do you have any idea what is this? And that's a question. Yeah, you looked into my eyes, so it means that you know the answer. Okay, what's this? This could be like a TV game. You have Windows Server questions and points, PowerShell questions, Active Directory, DNS, whatever. And what you can do, we can divide the audience in groups and let them compete by selecting points and subject. Okay, and this could be a very simple PowerPoint. I don't know if anybody of you remembers that. There was a game like this in a Windows NT Server 4 course many years ago.
I think I do remember.
Yes, there was a PowerPoint slide that was more or less like this. Probably, I think it was an Exchange server course, Exchange 5.5, something like this. And it was included in the original mock, in the original slides that we used that time. Okay, so you have to create a set of PowerPoint slides, and as soon as they select the subject and the points, you should click on that one. You have another slide that presents that question, and when you click again, you should give them the answer. Okay, the only thing that you have to do manually is somehow to write down the points that every team gets when they answer the question correctly. Okay, it needs time because imagine you have to create something like 6 columns, 5 rows, 30 different slides with the answers, okay, questions and answers. But you can use it, especially if you think that you don't have any demos and you want to engage them, or maybe you feel that you are going to end that presentation really early. Okay, you can start this one. So you should have it ready, sitting there in the background, and you just fire up the PowerPoint slides and you start the game. Okay, it needs some time to create the slides, but you can have it somewhere there sitting. And okay, so click here, sorry. Do you use Twitter? Hmm? No, it's okay. I can use that one. I think it works now. Do you use Twitter? Social tools. So it's really a good idea when you present somehow to automatically post tweets on Twitter. And if you follow my account Twitter, you will see that I'm doing this exact thing. I've pre-programmed, I've scheduled some tweet posts related to that presentation every 15 minutes. And by the way, the tool that I use to schedule all these automatic posts in Twitter is called Hootsuite. Okay, they have a free version. You can use the paid version if you want to use more social accounts, because I think the free version gives you the option to connect Twitter and Facebook and one more account. Yes? 3? Just 3? Okay, Alison knows that. Okay, so you actually can schedule all the tweets related to your presentation. Just take a look. If you have a computer in front of you, just try to take a look at my Twitter account. It's Spanougakis. Well, it's a little bit difficult for you. Anyway, you will see that I have some scheduled tweets that run now. The first tweet was actually 5 minutes before the presentation. I've created a tweet that was saying, my presentation starts in 5 minutes. Come on, come to this room, and something like this. So, because you don't actually have the time to do the tweeting while you present. Okay, so what about that motivational closing? You need to summarize all the content that you've presented, a call to action, of course. If you want to learn more, you can follow me on Twitter, use my Facebook page, and do this. And you can also give them some hyperlinks, because they will be able to download the presentation probably. So you can have some links that they should give them more technical information. Of course, every time that you finish, you have to ask them to fill the session evaluation. Do we have any evaluations here? I don't know. Michalis, do we have any evaluations? Do you know? Okay, so you should ask them if the conference is using evaluation. So ask them to connect. Give them resources, social media accounts, Facebook accounts, newsletters that they might subscribe to get more information. And you should summarize, and these are actually the 5 steps. I'm summarizing now what we've seen during that presentation. So what are these 5 steps? Can you memorize them? Preparation, opening, delivery, facilitated participation, and motivational closing. Okay, sounds good. Are you able to memorize all these steps? Okay, it's just 5 steps, so that's why you have to summarize everything. And how you can make the audience clap every time that you finish your presentation. Of course, today, since you know the secret, I don't expect you to clap when you leave that room. But please try it. It works every single time. Okay, how can you do that? Any ideas? Well, let's suppose that we can finish that presentation and I can do something like this. thank you very much, goodbye. Nobody will ever clap. They will stand up and they will leave. What do you have to do in order to make them clap every time when they leave the room? So it could be something like this. Okay, guys, thanks for your time. Please enjoy the rest of the show. And you will see that everybody will clap when they leave the room, because you actually motivate them. Okay, you want to create this good feeling. When they leave the room, they want to tell you that this was really good presentation. Okay, so please try it. Believe me, trust me, it works every single time. So that's it. I'm a little bit ahead of time. Probably I should have that learning activity up and running for the rest of presentation. We would like to thank our sponsors. Of course, you can ask me questions if you want. We have some time left. Yes? If you're going to receive the slides, yes, I think we'll be able to download the slides. Yes, you can do it. Okay. Any other question? So let's do a motivational closing now. Okay, guys, thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the show. Okay, between you and me, I know that it's fake now. Okay, so, okay, thanks you very much. Enjoy. And one more time, yeah, okay. What? No, come on. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. That's it.